Welcome to the Transform My Dance Studio podcast, the only podcast for dance studio owners, where each week we bring you business growth strategies to help you increase your profits, impact the lives of more students, while ensuring you get back some time to have a little life outside of the studio. It's time for you to become the go-to studio in your area. Now, here's your host, founder of the Dance Studio Owners Association, Clint Salter.
Hey there, Dance Studio Owners. It's Clint Salter here, founder of the Dance Studio Owners Association. I want to welcome you to a very special series that we're going to be sharing with you over the next 2 weeks. We're going behind the scenes with dance studio owners, people just like you that are running successful dance studios, and they're really opening up about what they're doing inside of their studio to create success, and as well talking about the challenges of running a dance studio and how they have gotten over those hurdles. Today, I'm really excited to be sharing with you Shawna Kwan. She's the CEO of Elan Dance Arts in London, Ontario, in Canada. Shawna is one of our Inner Circle members. She's been in the Inner Circle for going into her third year is delightful, has absolute clarity on her goals, on her vision. You're going to love Shawna's honesty, directness. I'm excited for you to jump into this interview with Shawna. And I also wanted to let you know that for the next 2 weeks only, we are opening our doors for you to apply to be part of our Inner Circle program. For more details about this program, it's where we get to hang out and we go to 3-day retreats together, and there's guest speakers, and it's awesome. I would love for you to check it out. Go to dancestudioownersassociation.com/inner circle. Now, let's get on with the show with the amazing Shawna Kwan. Okay. Hey, everyone. It's Clint Salter here. I hope you're really well. I'm excited for this brand new series that we're running called Backstage, where we're bringing you studio owners just like you who do what you do, but have achieved success. They've grown their business, but also they've gone through the challenges of what it really takes to become a successful studio and building that dream studio that we talk about so often. The other special thing, which I'm really looking forward to over the next couple of weeks as we do these, is we're talking to our Inner Circle members, really to celebrate opening up applications for our Inner Circle program, which have just opened today. We're chatting with Inner Circle members, some who have just joined us over the last couple of months, some that have been with us for now going into their second year, just to talk about their experience as studio owners. Now, I'm talking you can't have favorites, but I really do love this member. Her name is Shawna Kwan, and she is the director of Elan Dance Arts in Ontario, in London, in Ontario, in Canada. Shawna, it's a tricky one to kind of get them all right in the right order. Shawna, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Fantastic. So, Shawna, tell us a little bit about your journey. When did you start a dance studio, and why did you start one?
So I started in 2007 and actually hadn't thought that I would start a studio at all. So I originally grew up in Ottawa, which is the capital of Canada.
Yes, I know that one. I do know that one.
And I actually started dance when I was 12. So I was like ancient in the dance world. So I never really thought that I would teach or anything. And then I moved to London to do my degree in kinesiology and started taking hip hop at the university, which didn't exist at studios when I was training because I'm that old. And I just happened to be a natural at it, and the assistant was really terrible. And so I became the assistant, and then the teacher pieced out. So I became the teacher. And then 2 years later, I was running the whole program. And then I was like, I can open a studio. And that's kind of how that happened.
So how long ago was that? How long ago did you make that transition from teacher to studio owner?
In 2007. So we're celebrating our 10th year this year.
Yeah, which is super cool. Great milestone, great anniversary. Yeah. What would you say for our studio owners that are new, maybe they're in that first to kind of 3-year period, what were some of the things, some of the challenges that came up for you that were shocks to the system that you didn't quite expect to be a challenge or a hurdle?
Well, I also, I blew my knee out. I blew my ACL the year when I had opened my studio. So having to rely on other people to teach all of a sudden was a huge blow. Because I think when we open a studio, we're just kind of like, yeah, and I'll teach everything and da, 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 da. And I couldn't do that. So that was huge. I had the opportunity to partner with someone when I opened. And me personally, I'm pretty glad that I didn't do that. Some of my friends that have, it's always been a negative situation. And there's a few friends that I have, one friend that I have that did, and it was like the biggest blessing she's ever had. What else? I think in general, you don't realize how much banks hate dance studios until you open a dance studio. And then you're like, oh, so that was a little bit of a shock when I went into that venture.
Yeah. And what did you want to create? You know, you went into a market, I'm assuming there were studios already that were around that were operating. Like what did you think, you know what, we've got something unique here. Like I can do something in this market that maybe hasn't been done, or I can do it better. What was your thinking around that?
So again, I started in hip hop, and it was something I had never done, but something I was really good at. And then, a couple of my friends at the time at the university were B-boys. And so I started training in breakdancing, and was really natural at that. And there was no studio in my area that had a really strong urban program. No one had a lot of respect for breaking. And so I definitely wanted a studio that wasn't like how I trained. I wanted to have well-rounded dancers that could be just as good at ballet as they could at being a B-girl or whatever. So, so that was a big thing for me. And because I taught and worked with so many male dancers at the university, that was something that I wanted as well. And I figured with a strong urban program, I'd be able to build one of the largest boys dance programs in the city, which I did.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah. And so what did you do, what did you do in those first couple of years to get your name out there, to be known? Because now you've built this great reputation, you've got a great studio. And so what did you do during those first years to put yourself basically on the map in your area?
Yeah, so I think one of the really important things that I always can look back on, and I think I'm one of the only studio owners in my area that did this. I opened up on my own. I didn't take any students from anywhere. I didn't tell anyone where I was going. I didn't take any teachers from anywhere. And that's really rare. So the students that are graduating high school that started with me when I opened trained with me and only me. I just, a lot of my peers and acquaintances in the area, they'll do that. They'll hand out flyers or email everybody and call everybody. And it's totally possible to just do it the right way, the clean way. And like, it's totally possible. So, and people, if they want to come, they'll find you. Like, no matter where you are, it's not that big. They're going to know where you are. So, so that was one thing that I did. I've always hired really reputable teachers. So, I had a B-boy crew in the city that ran my break program. And I think in general, the idea of, I don't do it anymore, but when I started, I offered free classes, like free week of classes before the season started. So everyone could come in and meet the teachers and see the studio and try a bunch of stuff. And after about, I think around our 5th year, only registered students started coming to those classes. So I was like, okay, enough of that.
You were like, yeah, let's stop those free classes.
Yeah, not so free. Yeah. But yeah, that was a big that was a big thing. And even for a couple of years after we stopped, everybody was like, when are the free classes? And I was like, yeah, we don't do those anymore.
Yeah. But those are good. I mean, it served a purpose in those early years.
It totally did.
To build that, those numbers in those classes.
If I had my 11-step enrollment process when I did those free weeks, bam.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's actually, I'm glad you mentioned that, not just because, it's our process, the 11 steps, but because so many people are against some type of free trial class or unlimited class pass because they always say to themselves like, oh, we don't get good people during that. It's actually that they just don't have the system in the back end to support it.
Totally.
So I'm glad you mentioned that. And so you were doing well. You were building a name for yourself and the studio. What was, after doing that for a couple of years, what did you then what shifted for you to go, okay, you know what, I want to take this to another level now?
I don't just want to spit out well-trained dancers. I want to spit out well-rounded dancers. And I just find that, every studio has the things that they're really, really great at. But if your student is at an audition for a Disney movie and they're doing jazz and there's a commercial across the hallway that needs a B-girl, is your student able to hop across the hallway and get that job in that commercial? And that's what I want. And I want my dancers to be able to move anywhere and to understand what they know and what level they're at and know the terminology, so that if a studio owner says to them, Clint, I'm so glad you're moving to blah, blah, blah. We're excited to have you at the studio. We're just trying to place you in a jazz class. Do you know how to do A, B, C, D? And normally 9 times out of 10, the parent or student's response is, we don't know what those things are. And it drives me nuts because people refer to jetés like flying saucer leaps. So when I ask them, and so I want my dancers to be able to go out and do anything that they want to do and to have the knowledge and all of that training behind them.
Yeah, I think, one of the main things around that is bringing in the right faculty. Having the right teachers to support, to be on the same page as you when it comes to that vision for the students. How do you go about hiring and training the right people for your studio, for your vision that you put together?
I think for me, it's about hiring people that are very like-minded. If they're not willing to integrate themselves within my crazy rock star staff, then they could be the best teacher on the planet. But if they're not going to be willing to integrate themselves, then it's not going to be the right fit, because everyone is very much like me. We're all fun and easygoing, and I think it's very hard to find staff that I don't care if my students are perfect. When we go to competitions, I don't care if the routines are like the cleanest pieces of choreo you've ever seen. What I care about is that they've enjoyed the experience and that our stuff stands out from anything they see at other studios. So we make sure that our students are comfortable with being uncomfortable, because we want them to be able to work. And so any teacher that comes to the studio and asks them to do something, they're going to do it. There's no eye rolling. There's no attitude. They are more than willing to do whatever they're asked to do, however they're asked to do it. And that's rare. And so it's important for me to explain to staff that I'm not looking for soldiers. I don't want my dancers to feel like soldiers, and I don't need a drill sergeant. I just need someone who's going to get results, but understands the proper level between that authority figure and someone who's going to have fun as well.
Yeah, completely. Yeah. I love it. I love how passionate you are around the artistic side of your studio, and the training and the teacher training. because, what we focus on inside the inner circle is the business side of things, how to grow as a business leader, as the CEO. You joined the inner circle now, just over a year ago, November 2015. What's been the journey for you through the program, making that shift basically from the artistic person to I'm the CEO?
Yeah, it's been like, I think the first, so when I started, I was going through the modules and using some of the spreadsheets and this and that. And I don't know, I feel like anyone who joins a program like that, you're kind of like, okay, but like, I probably know like a decent amount of this stuff, like, and then I started plugging some of my like past numbers, like my previous season into the spreadsheets. And I literally was like, oh my God, like, I can't believe I thought that was okay. I can't believe I was doing that, and it was shocking. So to be able to have tools where I could, instead of, guessing at a number and assuming it would work, I could put it in there and be like, okay, yeah, no. Mm-mm.
Yeah. And that's the class capacity forecast in Studio Success.
It's like huge. Oh my God.
That spreadsheet, that spreadsheet is a good sheet. And that was by accident that actually ended up. I was like, hey, I think this would be really useful.
Oh, so great.
Being one of our most popular sheets in that program. And so you were part of Studio Success Formula for probably a couple of months.
Yeah, 3 maybe.
Yeah.
No, maybe around March, April.
Oh, okay, March. Okay, cool. So probably our first intake for 2015.
Yeah.
And then you decided to apply for the Inner Circle in around October 2015. And what was it like? What were you looking for? Why did this kind of program stand out for you?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I still have issues with profitability, and part of it I think is that I need the extra accountability factor, and so I thought that was going to definitely keep me accountable and allow me the opportunity to just have someone understand me more personally so that I could get better answers for the particular issues that I have. I mean, the group is great and everyone is really, really open in the group, but I think if I was in a smaller group with people who had similar or even different issues than me and I could talk it out with them, then I'd get a lot more personalized help, which has totally been the case.
Yeah, totally. What are some of what kind of impacts, has being part of the Inner Circle had on the business and on you personally as well?
Yeah. I was thinking that in my head as you said it, and personally. Well, I make completely different decisions, completely and totally different decisions. So, whereas before I would go out of my way to do everything I could to keep someone at the studio. Now I'm kind of like, oh, you can't afford solo? No solo. Whereas before I'd be like, okay, let's do 50% off, and not because I'm a really nice person, but just because I kind of felt like that was my job, to just do everything I could to keep them at the studio. Whereas now, if someone is clearly not the kind of person that I want at the studio, they're not treating me appropriately or whatever, I call a meeting and I say, you know what, I don't think this is the place for you. And they're probably paying a huge amount of money and they've been at the studio for 7 years and but they're overstepping boundaries and they're communicating inappropriately. They're taking a toll on my well-being, my personal well-being. And I never would have done that before, ever. Personally, as far as the Inner Circle goes, I've gone through obviously some really tough times over the past year and a bit. And it's been really, really comforting to have that group. I have some pretty close friends in the group that I speak to on a regular basis. And they've seen a difference in me even. And to have that acknowledged is just really nice.
Yeah. Well, I think back to like the first retreat last year in San Diego was our first one, and then watching your growth, and then seeing you in Vegas in our most recent retreat. It's only 12 months. It's only been 12 months.
Yeah.
And the difference in terms of the leadership, the questions you ask, the strategy around how you do things now is completely different. And the great thing is you haven't lost the artistic side of things.
Yeah.
Like so often people think, oh, but if I'm focusing on the business things, then I'm going to lose kind of that creativity and that artistic side of things. How have you managed to juggle both of those balls, the creative, artistic, and also the CEO one?
I think just, to me, the answer is finding people who can do the things that you're either terrible at or that you don't want to do, and finding those right people and sometimes you find someone and then you find someone better. So as long as you can find people to take those things off your plate, then you can still focus and be present for the things that you need to be there for, which for me is making sure that the creative side of things is totally and completely in check. But there's things that I'm not good at. I will never be good at them. I don't want to be good at them, and I don't want to spend the time to be good at them. And so I need other people to do those things. And I think that's also one of the things that I learned because we struggled so much with being profitable. In my head, I thought, okay, well, I can't hire people to do these things because where's that money coming from? But if you can just find that right person and understand that, Justin's rule that you're going to make 3 times that back, then it's okay to make that decision to spend the money, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. Whoever is doing my Facebook advertising right now is $1,000 a month, but I just registered 19 people within 1 month, which is a lot more than 1,000, right? So as long as you can just make that jump to it's okay to pay that person to do that, even though I don't have that money right now. Mm-hmm. As long as you know that the return is there, then, and it's kind of just grown from there.
Yeah. And that's I'm so glad you mentioned that because it's such a huge mindset shift for people who are like, I know I need help, but I can't really afford it. And so they get stuck for such a long time in them doing everything. And that task, the finance task that, takes you 8 hours, takes someone else 1 hour because they love it and it's their strength. Yeah. And so you buy back time so that you can work on the things that you love, but also that are going to grow the business and take it forward.
Yeah.
And that's a huge thing. If we've got people that are watching, they're maybe thinking about the inner circle and they're not sure. Maybe they're like, well, I'm only a couple of years into my studio. Is it a good decision for me? Who do you think the program is best for, the inner circle? Just like I wish I had started dance when I was 4, like everyone else on the planet. I wish I had the knowledge and the information and the team that I have in the inner circle when I opened the studio. Because again, there's so many things. Like me and my parents are very close with me, and we talk all the time about how I even thought to do the things that I was doing before. I didn't have high margins on things because I just figured, okay, well, is that really how I want to make my money? Yeah, it is, but I just didn't really think of that before. And so we laugh all the time just about how, I opened a business without any kind of business knowledge, and imagine if I had this information before. And I think just the idea of being able to post a question in a group where some people have hit the $1 million mark, if that's not worth just being in there, I mean, holy crap. But the speakers are amazing. That's our live retreats. Our live retreats.
Yeah, but everything, even the stuff you have online, we can post questions. I mean, the whole thing is just there's I don't think everyone needs every imaginable area of what you offer, but there's some particular areas that are just so insanely important. Like I can't speak any more highly of how much I rely on the program.
And it's it's a pleasure. And guys, the reason we're doing kind of this series is for our studio owners to share with you, but also for you to see the types of people that we have inside of the inner circle. As I always say to our members, I'm so protective of our culture inside of the inner circle because, we only have a maximum of 40 members that we can take. We only have space for 9 new people in this intake. And it's important to have the right fit. Because we all get together and we spend 3 days together, we eat together, we drink together, we see shows together. And so it's really important that we keep the culture of the group. And it's a culture of people that are hungry, that are learners, that want to do better and that are coachable. Shawna, what last piece of advice would you give for studio owners that are watching and maybe they feel like they're not on the right path, or they want to be more successful, but they're not sure, what to do? What have you, what's some of the, maybe a big decision or something that you've shifted in yourself over the last couple of years that has allowed you to really take that next level in the business?
I have to pick one.
Tricky question, I know.
Oh, it's crazy. I just think that, there's so many. I would say to me, the biggest shift is that, anything that I'm involved with, I used to think of my time as zero, right? Like if they had a private lesson with one of my staff charged, 30 an hour, 35 an hour, blah, blah, blah. But if they had a private lesson with me, am I really paying myself? Like, don't worry, like $0, right? And it's ludicrous when you like, what? Right? And so like 500 an hour, like, right? So, but it's just, that's the way that we think, and yeah, like no margin on costumes and no margin on this, and no margin on that. And, and so to me, just the idea that everything that I touch, I should be charging for and having a margin on because it's my time and I'm of that value was huge to me. It's literally changed every decision that I make. And I think, I don't want to backtrack, but I think for me, the inner circle, the most important thing about the inner circle, and I'm reminded of this every single time that we go to the retreats or anything like that, is that every single person in that room, like there's maybe been like one instance where we're all kind of like, oh, I haven't experienced that one before, but we can still contribute. But every single person in there has gone through whatever we've gone through. They have a solution. They have a solution that either worked or didn't work. Hey, I did this and it didn't work. Don't do that. Oh, I did this and it was right. But that's huge, right? Because in your head,
don't waste your time. Don't waste your time and money on that thing because that doesn't work.
Right. And in your head, you're like, oh, sweet. Because like that was number 2 on my list. So I'll just cross that off right now. So to me, that's the hugest because that kind of first experience, firsthand knowledge is of a value that you can't even put a value on that. Like, it's huge. And so it's a close-knit family. Like it takes a village. And the inner circle village is amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
Our little village. And it is, in those live retreats, when we're sitting there and we're doing our hot seats or our super shares, it's pretty powerful being in that U shape where like everyone's there for you and someone's got an answer and someone's been through that before. And especially because we have the exclusivity. So there's no one in your area, that's in the inner circle as well. So everyone like lays all their cards out on the table. And I think that that's something we don't see a lot of.
No, and people start trends, right? A studio will do something, and then other studios will do it, right? And but there's no camaraderie about it, right? And in this particular case, if someone's done something, like we come up with a great idea, where's the first place that we post it? inner circle. Hey guys, here's what I'm doing. Blah blah blah. You go do it, right? And so it's pretty great. And it's not a cult. It's not.
That was so fun. Yeah, it's not a cult. It's definitely not a cult. But it's a special. It's not a cult, but it's a special group of people that are all really well aligned.
You can't say "but" after it's not a cult. You can't say "but" because then it's like.
Yeah, right.
It's not. It's a lovely group of people.
Yeah, it's a hugely lovely group of people, and everyone is on the same page and wants the same things. Which is what I love, because it's a huge part of kind of the time that I put into the business and our retreats and the coaching sessions that we have. And so I want to bring more people like Shawna, like the rest of our members, into this special group of studio owners that we have. Shawna, I want to say thank you for sharing some of your thoughts around your studio journey and also your inner circle experience so far. Where can people go to find out more about your studio?
To our website,
yes.
Elan, ELAN, dancearts.ca. Yeah.
Awesome. And check out, they're on social as well, so check out their Facebook page.
Because I'm paying someone to do it.
That's right. It's not Shawna anymore. It's like, great, that's off my plate. Someone that loves it,
I'm not cool enough to do, I just am not. And my students used to do it, but I don't want my students doing it. I want someone who loves to do it, doing it. And they think it's me, so it's great.
Yeah, totally. Thanks, Shawna. Really, really appreciate it and look forward to catching up with you again in the group really soon.
Thank you.
I hope you really enjoyed that interview and got a lot of value from it. Took a couple of pages of notes maybe on how you can really take your studio to the next level. Now, if you'd like my help and our experts and our coaches and you'd love to be part of a small group of studio owners from all around the globe, I'd love to invite you to apply for our inner circle. You can go to dancestudioownersassociation.com/inner circle to get all of the details and to fill out your application. It's a coaching and a mastermind program that lasts for at least 12 months. We run live events, 3-day retreats with our members. We do weekly group coaching calls. We have a really beautiful, supportive group of studio owners from around the world that are part of our inner circle, with everyone having the one goal, which is to grow their studio while having a life outside of their business. And let me tell you, it's definitely possible. Check out our website, dancestudioownersassociation.com/inner circle for all the details. I would love to receive an application from you. See you soon. Bye for now.
Thank you for joining us today. For all the resource links from the show and to receive access to our free dance studio growth training, make sure you visit transformmydancestudio.com.